Hello everybody, this is Gwyneth Isaac speaking here. Oh boy. I'm just making a YouTube video today, considering certain political things that are going on in Australia. Seems as if free speech is going to be seriously curtailed here. And it sort of set my mind off on a bit of a rabbit trail. So I'm going to make this video. This is going to be talking about George Wilson again. I am the reincarnation of the mate lot of Captain Bartholomew Roberts. Okay, you can go and see other George Wilson videos that I've posted. This is not something that I've just come up with. I've known this for many years. And actually it was Archie, my husband, was very fond of saying, "You must understand, I am the teetotaling pirate king." I had no idea who, and didn't know anything about Caribbean Golden Age pirates. This is Australia, there's going to be flies. I live in the Aussie bush, there's going to be flies, so. There we go. We did past life regression. I've made videos about George Wilson before. You can go and watch those if you're inclined to find out. But we did past life regression and we found out that he was in fact the teetotaling pirate king. We didn't know his name, and Archie was always asking me if I could go and do some historical research on who the teetotaling pirate king was. And obviously we now know. Hello, I do love you. We now know that it's Bartholomew Roberts, Captain Bartholomew Roberts. But at the time I didn't know that. I only began to research the teetotaling pirate king 3 months after Archie died. But Archie is buried at sea. He's buried off the Capalaba coast, which is near the Gold Coast of Australia. Captain Roberts is buried off the Calabar coast, which is near the Gold Coast of Africa. These are both historical facts. Captain Roberts had a lover, George Wilson. When we did our past life regression, we saw that I was his lover in that life, that I was a surgeon, a sea surgeon, became a pirate surgeon, wanted to be a pirate, and became the lover of the Pirate King. That's George Wilson. Anybody can go and find that out. It's a matter of historical fact that Captain Roberts had an intimate friend, a surgeon by the name of George Wilson. That was me. And Archie, funnily enough, his middle name is Robertson. Archibald Robertson McIsaac, or Thompson, aka Thompson, because he didn't find out who his real father was until he was about 46 years old. I might have that age wrong, But he was, he already had the mission. By the time he wanted to, so everybody knew him as Archie Thompson, but his passport, his birth certificate was Archie McIsaac, because that was who his real father was. So anyway, getting back to it, I'm in the process of writing. The manuscript is complete. I'm just editing it. Of writing another George Wilson and Bartholomew Roberts book. It's a prequel to all of the other books. So keep your eye open for that. And something struck me as I was, contemplating all the things that are going on in Australia at the moment. I thought I'd better make I sort of should make a YouTube video about it. And some things that I remembered about being there as George Wilson. That was a world where there were no good people. The Admiralty were not good people. Neither were we. We were not good people either. The African tribes were not good people. There were no good people. When you're reading in my books, I mean, it's highly fictionalized, okay, but based on historical fact. My, sort of Tang Cartel Chronicles books are highly fictionalized, but they're, based on historical fact. So, and past life memories sort of weave their way in there. I remember something and then I sort of weave it in from time to time. Hello. I love you. Yes. That's the truth of it. There were no good people. And I believe that everything happens for a reason. And I believe that the reason why, I mean, there was a lot more free speech back in the day. In that day, I mean, you had Daniel Defoe was writing at the time, and he had more or less. There were things he couldn't say. He would have been arrested if he had said them. Basically, he was able to say a lot, and a lot of the reason why we have the records of Captain Roberts and George Wilson and all the rest of it is the work of Daniel Defoe, and he also, of course, wrote fiction books of his own, fiction works of his own, and non-fiction, telling about the times that he was living in. And I love you. I do. That's the reason why we have it. Fiction and non-fiction are both important in transmitting truth in every era. But I think that one thing that comes across strongly in Defoe's work is that at this time, there were no good people, really. There were no good people in that time, in that era of history. The slavers were not good people. The Tarletons were not good people. The Ogles were not good people. We, the pirates, were not good people. There were no good people. And I fear that we're heading into a time of history where there will be no good people. I fear that. I've been there. I remember that. Having to get by, pretending to be a man when I was a woman, not for any weird sexual reason, not for any fetish or anything like that, but it was not safe to be a woman at that time. It wasn't safe. No. If you were a little girl, you couldn't go playing on the streets. You'd be kidnapped and something terrible would happen to you. This is well documented. We really, really underestimate the positive force that genuine Christianity has been. I'm not talking about any stupid churches, any fundamentalist group or anything like that. I'm talking about genuine Christianity, people who study the life of Jesus Christ and seek to emulate it. We really underestimate the power of the gospel of Jesus Christ. It turns bad people into good people. Makes people want to be good. That is the power of the gospel. They want to be, people find out who Jesus Christ is and they want to be like Jesus Christ. I don't think I know. That's why God sent me back to the earth. I can just hear all the, religious folks in the comments section going, "Ree!" about reincarnations of the devil. No. Jesus Christ himself said, if you can accept it, that John the Baptist is the prophet Elijah. He said that. He said, if you can accept it. He also said, not everybody can accept that. And that's fine. If you don't want to believe about reincarnation, you don't have to believe about reincarnation. But in my past lives, I was at a time and a place where it was impossible to be a good person. You couldn't be. The few people who, there were a few ministers there, ministers of the gospel. They fled. History tells us that. Their own writings say they went to Nassau and they fled because they couldn't handle it. There were no other good people. They were the only good people. I'm laughing, but it's true. There were no good, and we are in a current time, in a current place, where there just about are no good people. If you think you're a good person, you need to do you need to learn about the life of Jesus Christ, learn what it really is to be a good person. I'm only a good person because of Jesus. It breaks my heart. Not literally, of course, but to see what's happening to this country. The political class certainly are not good people. The people who are in favour, because their group is being attacked, want free speech to be seriously curtailed because their group's being attacked and they don't have the foresight to see that it's not going to solve anything. We need free speech, Muslims are not good people. Their prophet was not a good person. The politicians are not good people, There we go. But by the grace of God, there go I. Whatever good you see in me is just Jesus Christ shining through me. Whatever good you see in me, people think that I'm, I want to be the sort of person that Jesus Christ would be happy to call his friend. You learn about Jesus Christ. Try and live your life like to be the sort of person that Jesus Christ would be happy to call his. And you will be the sort of person that he wants you to be. I am weeping. I'm weeping for my country. I'm weeping because I've seen people who started out being really bad people. Archie was a bad person. You look at the video, it's on this channel of Archie, and what a godly man he was. He was a beautiful guy. He didn't start out that way. He was a gangster. He was a gang leader. He was an alcoholic. Reincarnated pirate king. Reincarnation of Bartholomew Roberts. I don't think Bartholomew Roberts wanted to be a bad person, but he was in a world at a time and a place where it was impossible to be a good person. You couldn't be a good person, you would have been slaughtered in that time and in that place. And I fear that our world is going back there, and I don't want it to happen. This is not about what religion you follow. This is not about, what gender you identify as. I don't care. I don't care what gender you are, what colour your hair is, what colour your skin is. Well, you've dyed your hair purple. Let's give you a medal. You got black skin, oh, you must be holy. You got white skin, oh, you must be holy. I don't care. I don't care what colour your skin is. I don't care what colour your hair is. I don't care a darn for any of that. What I care about is what's in here. What God cares about is what's in here. Are you going to be the sort of person that Jesus Christ would be pleased to call his friend? You need to study Gospels, especially the Gospel of John. Okay? Gospel of John. Read it. Read what sort of person Jesus Christ was when he was on the earth. He kicked ass sometimes. I'm glad he did. He drove the money changers out of the temple. I'm glad he did. He didn't like, cheats, robbers and all the rest of it. He didn't like any of that. He doesn't like it when people cheat and lie and steal. These people who cheat and lie and steal are of the devil. You have to just be the sort of person that Jesus Christ would be glad to call his friend. And if we don't all start to do that, we're stuffed. We're screwed. God bless you all. See you later.